Welcome to my office, where we get to have a bit more of a candid chat about the markets, economy, pretty much anything that's on my mind. And today, what's on my mind is the coming crash and how I don't think it's going to be what most people expect. Now, I think in most people's minds, at face value, we expect the crash to be somewhat, fast and just hit the market all of a sudden. But I think this time, while I don't think this time is going to be different in that, there's not going to be a crash. I think a crash is coming. I just think it's going to be different in anything that we've experienced, at least in our generation. Now, what we have at the moment is a bit different to previously in how we have so many rolling crises all at once. Now, I've mentioned it before, I'll mention them again. We obviously have the war, now oil prices and inflation. We have the AI bubble. We have the private credit issues. We have bond market issues. We have issues in the home builders. The list just goes on and on. And something I've recently found out is that we're not good at dealing with multiple crises all at once. What kind of happens is that we just stick our head in the sand and hope for the best because it's just too much to take on. Now, I'm not talking about you individually. I'm talking about as a collective, as a group. And this is certainly something we're seeing in governments. And this is one of the main reasons I don't think the coming crash is going to be what you expect, because it's just going to be one thing after another. And I think things are really going to begin to snowball when we have too many things reaching their tipping point. Now, in terms of when that tipping point actually comes, timing-wise, we're right at the precipice of the cycle, but like I've been talking about for a while now, is that tops are a process, and since there's so many issues at the moment, they're unlikely all going to culminate at the same time. It's going to be one after another. And not only that, each crisis in its own right may actually be a slow burn, which is where this whole tops are a process thing comes into effect. Now, think about it from the AI bubble side of things. There are hundreds of billions of dollars just this year alone going into the AI sector, and specifically data centers as one of the main ones. And while we have seen massive infrastructure build-outs in the past, such as the railroads or internet or whatnot, what we haven't seen in the past is a massive infrastructure build-out of this magnitude, which doesn't last anywhere near as long as the other things that have been built. If you think about roads or rail or internet, all of that stuff that money got poured into lasted decades, whereas data centers, they have a lifespan of only a few years, specifically the chips, before they're out of date. So that means all of these investments to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars are likely never going to see a return on the money that they put in. And when these things come up for renewal, or at least when they've depreciated and there's a new generation of whatever coming out, that's something that will hit the market pretty hard. But not only that, leading up to it as the masses cotton on. Now, that's just one example. Another example is, of course, interest rates and the bond market, how it's possible that interest rates are going to stay higher for longer than most people realize. And when that also starts to become widespread knowledge, fear is going to continue trickling into the market at first and then just snowball and get worse and worse and worse. Now, that's just my view as of right now. You let me know if you think otherwise, or if there's some other potential scenario you see playing out. But at least to the best of my knowledge and from what I see and understand, I think this is how it's all going to end up. So that means in terms of practical steps and what to do, we have to insulate ourselves as best as possible from a major economic downturn. And by that I mean job security if you have a job, insulating your business from any potential risks, reducing debt, having a savings nest egg, and even having some kind of food source. I know that sounds ridiculous, but even if you're self-sufficient in one little thing, such as eggs or such as some herbs and vegetables, it's not going to hurt. And I'm not talking about going all doomsday prepper. I'm just talking about being as insulated and self-sufficient as possible. Now, I get it, that last point is probably a little bit too extreme for most, but it's not going to hurt. You'll get outdoors and get away from the computer for a little bit. But that aside, back to the crash, that's genuinely what I believe is going to be taking place over the coming years. And the biggest thing right now, in my opinion, is to not become blindsided and complacent if we happen to see the stock market head higher. Now, let me be clear again, I'm not saying that's what will happen, but there's still a potential for the can to get kicked down the road longer than most people anticipate, where the wool can really get pulled over people's eyes. So I'll have more to say on that in upcoming videos. I'll leave it at that for this one here. Wishing you guys more health, wealth, and happiness. And until next time, I'll catch you then.
Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo.